The cycle of conception begins with the deposit of sperm from the penis into the vagina during sexual intercourse. Once released into the vagina, the cervix acts as a reservoir to allow a continuous supply of sperm to swim upward into the uterus and then into the fallopian tubes.
How do boys' bodies change during puberty?
As a boy develops, his voice becomes deeper, he becomes hairier, and his body becomes broader. The boy's penis also starts to get hard more often. This is called an erection, and sometimes fluid comes out of the penis as well. This can happen even when you're asleep. The man's genitals are the penis and testicles. They make tiny cells called sperm inside their testicles. These sperm are the man's seed. Sometimes the penis can become hard, and then millions of sperm mixed with fluid come out of the thin tube, also called the urethra, in the middle of the penis. Urine or pee comes out of the same tube, but not at the same time as the sperm, and the penis isn't hard at this time either.
So how do girls' bodies change during puberty?
Girls' bodies change to allow them to get pregnant and carry babies. Their breasts become bigger so that they could produce milk if they have a baby. Their hips become wider, and hair begins to grow under the arms and on the vulva, which is the outside part of a woman's genitals. There is an opening there called the urethra, where the woman urinates or pees from. The other opening is called a vagina. This leads to the cervix, which is the entrance that leads into the womb and where a baby can grow. The vagina is where a baby comes out when it is born. Once a month, a woman's ovary releases a tiny egg. If the egg is not fertilised by a man's sperm, then the lining of the womb breaks down and bleeds. This is called a period. Once the girl's periods start, it's really important for her to know that she can now get pregnant, whereas before this, it wasn't possible.
How do women get pregnant?
A woman becomes pregnant by having penetrative sex. This happens when a man's penis goes into a woman's vagina. A man's penis can ejaculate sperm during sex. This sperm can travel to the womb, and if a woman's egg is there, it can fertilise the egg, which can grow into a baby.
At the point of orgasm, the first few contractions are incredibly strong.
The male orgasm causes semen to be ejaculated deep away to orgasm, and you should only try it if you're feeling particularly fit and flexible.
There's smaller contractions which gradually diminish and peter out.
The race starts with the act of love. Tens of millions of spermatozoa rush ahead on a hunting trip that may eventually lead to a fateful encounter and a promise of new life. Only one can win. The rest will end their lives in a matter of days. The sperm attack is merciless. A sperm cell carries a mysterious load. Each can create a unique human being unlike any other in the world. Now, there are only about 100 sperm left competing for the ovum, but only one will make it through the ovum's protective layer. In their final efforts, one suddenly manages to penetrate. It is the winner. After the ovum is pierced, it hardens and becomes impermeable. For the rest of the sperm, the journey has ended in failure. For the winner, it is the beginning. It sheds its now unnecessary tail and load and is free. The father's genetic material merges with the mother's. A new and unique cell is created, the fertilized ovum. At this moment, almost all of the future baby's features are determined, and fetal development begins.
The egg is just the size of a pen tip that it makes way to the uterus. In days, the egg and the cell arrange themselves into groupings. The inner cell mass will become your baby. The outer cell will become a meiotic mass and placenta. Around 5 weeks, the size of your baby is like a sesame seed. The inner cell mass that forms begins arranging. Begins giving shape to young embryo. The baby brain and spinal cord are visible to translucent skin. Around this time, the baby's circulatory system begins to form, and his heart begins to beat. Your baby is a tiny tadpole than a human. Nutrients and oxygen is passing through placenta and umbilical cord. By 9 weeks, the embryonic tail is gone. Your baby is looking human every day. Develop the limbs, fingers, nose and eye, and the tiny earlobes. The baby is now a size of a grain. From a tiny cell, in a short time, it develops finally into a baby.